In the past, I received a lot of questions asking which DxO software someone may need. And I decided to make this video to help kind of serve as a buyer's guide, or at least just inform you of what software fits into the workflow of each individual. Now, I can't touch every single workflow that every single person would ever have. However, I think there's going to be some generalities, and you'll have to identify where you fit in with the workflow, I guess, suggestions that I'm going to provide in this video. Now, I am going to put chapter markers so you can navigate through this as you need to, but I do recommend that you watch the video all the way through, because I think I'm going to drop some information in all segments of the video that will be helpful as you try to identify what type of software you need. So, which DxO software works for your workflow? Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so for those of you who don't know, DxO, they have 5 different programs or offerings of software, and we're going to kind of go through this. So on the left column, these are more of like the creative editing tools that you would use. And then on the right column, they're more of the technical correction tools. So starting off in the top left, we have DxO PhotoLab, and this is a RAW processor very similar to what you would get with Lightroom. And in the latest version of DxO PhotoLab, they've included AI masking that's very similar and comparable to what you would see inside of Lightroom. So if you're looking for a Lightroom alternative in regards to raw processing, as well as masking capability, as well as the ability to organize your images, then DxO PhotoLab is probably the software you're looking for. The next one down is DxO FilmPack, and this is a film emulator, and it works really, really well. Now, what's cool about this is you can use raw images with this. So instead of having to use JPEGs or TIFFs or anything like that, which you could use, but it allows you to get your film looks on a raw image, and you can tweak this. You have full control over the way that it looks. Like, it's an amazing piece of software, and it allows you to get some creative edits that don't quite look like they were digitally processed, if that's something that you're trying to step away from, but you just don't want to go and pay an arm and a leg to shoot film. Now, the last one on the list, which isn't last in comparison, but it's a collection of software, and it's called Nik Collection. We're on version 8 right now, and what the Nik Collection allows you to do, and what it is a series of applications to creatively edit your image. Now, there's a bunch of tools in there. The ones that I always gravitate towards is Silver Effects Pro and Color Effects Pro. To me, those are the 2 programs that provide the most value out of the Nik Collection. And, if you are familiar with the Nik Collection, you let me know which programs you're using and what programs you find of value inside of the Nik Collection, aside from the Color Effects and Silver Effects Pro. So those are kind of the creative software that DxO offers. Then we have the more technical software, and this is where you're correcting perspective with ViewPoint, which is the first one on the top right here. This is going to allow you to get your lines just perfectly straight. It'll allow you to section off certain portions of the image and then manipulate the lines and the skew and the perspective. It's a very, very powerful tool, and you can use it to do creative things. You can also use it to do technical things. So that's what ViewPoint is. It's a very, very powerful tool. And then the next one is PureRAW. And many of you probably have heard of this before, or at least have heard photographers mentioning it. And this is some very powerful raw processing noise reduction. All right. So it allows you to take your raw images and really reduce the noise in your files, and you could bring back a lot of detail. It's actually very, very powerful. DxO has done a phenomenal job with this, but what's cool about this is you could do batch processing. All 5 of these programs and the multitude that come inside of the Nik Collection, these are all standalone programs. You don't have to use them with other software. You can use them individually. You could purchase one, or you could purchase all, or you can mix and match. And that's what we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But one of the powerful things with the Nik Collection, or the DxO software, I should say, is you can combine all of these programs into PhotoLab. So PhotoLab kind of becomes the hub. So now that we're up to speed on what software DxO offers, let's take a look at which programs fit into a specific type of workflow. So as I was looking at all of the DxO software, I came up with 6 bundles that I think would fit with the software offerings that DxO has. So the first one is the Essentials, and this is what I would recommend bare minimum for every single photographer who wants to use DxO software. Maybe you're looking to switch from alternative software like Lightroom, and you're looking for that combination. And the Essentials bundle that I'm offering here, or suggesting here, is PhotoLab and the Nik Collection. Now, where PhotoLab is a very, very capable and powerful RAW editor, it lacks some of the creative looks. If you want to go a little bit above and beyond just modifying color and being able to adjust the exposure, the tonal values, and things of that sort. So you would use PhotoLab as obviously your raw base editor, and then you would send your images from PhotoLab to the Nik Collection. And this is integrated very well with the software. I will note that when you send images from PhotoLab to the Nik Collection, and anytime you send an image to the Nik Collection, even if it's a standalone, you can only work with JPEG and TIFF files. You cannot open a raw file inside of any of the programs that are found inside of the Nik Collection. So just keep that in mind. Make sure, or at least none of the creative programs. You may be able to open raw images in some of the other programs like the pre-sharpener and post-sharpener, but I digress. The point here, if you want the most creative control that you can get, then the Essentials bundle with PhotoLab and the Nik Collection, that's where you want to go. And I think 90% of the photographers will be happy with that combination of tools for a very, very long time. Now, if you want something, extra on top, and you just want to push it beyond the PhotoLab and Nik Collection experience, then this is where I would introduce FilmPack. And FilmPack is, the Essentials Plus bundle that I'm offering here. By the way, these are just names that I came up with. They're not official DxO bundle names. We'll talk about how you can bundle these programs here in a little bit, but these are my bundle options that I'm suggesting to you. And the reason that I'm suggesting FilmPack on top of the Nik Collection is FilmPack does allow you to work with raw images. And sometimes what you may even want to do, we could just take Nik Collection out of it and you could do PhotoLab and FilmPack. But what FilmPack does that Nik Collection doesn't do is it integrates into PhotoLab, so you can use a lot of the tools that are found like solely inside of FilmPack. You can use that inside of PhotoLab. So it becomes this very seamless workflow of, I have a raw image and I'm cataloging it or organizing it using the tools inside of PhotoLab, but I want to put this film emulation onto my image. And then you can use PhotoLab to do that without having to open up FilmPack. And that's what's so powerful about using PhotoLab and FilmPack. But I only recommend that to people who really want that filmic look on their images and they want to tweak, because FilmPack does allow you to really get in there and modify the way that your film stock, if you will, that you're creating. It'll help you modify the way that it looks. Now, of course, if you're finding value in this content, go ahead and smash that like button and consider subscribing to see more. Now, the next bundle that I'm suggesting is the Technician, and these are going to be real estate photographers or architectural photographers, anyone who needs geometrically straight lines. The best way to get the most control and make your image look vertically straight and horizontally straight is to use ViewPoint. So you'll edit your raw image, and then you'll be able to use the tools of ViewPoint, which again, similar to what FilmPack does, it integrates into PhotoLab, so you don't even have to open up ViewPoint. But if you needed to, you could open ViewPoint as a standalone, upload your image into it or load it in, and then correct the verticals or the horizontals or the perspective, the skew. You can do all kinds of stuff with ViewPoint. It's an extremely powerful tool. So if you are a technical photographer and you want things to look very crisp, then you may want to look at getting PhotoLab and ViewPoint in order to keep your photos looking as straight and as sharp as they possibly can. Then we move into the film technician. And this, again, is very similar to the technician aspect that I was just talking about, but we throw in the FilmPack emulation, and this allows you to get that nostalgic look or get that filmic look. So if you don't want those clinically digital, sharp or digital process looking images, and you want to put a little bit more of a filmic touch on it, then that's where FilmPack comes in. Just like I was talking about with the Essentials Plus bundle. Now, those are the offerings where we stay completely internal to the DxO ecosystem, if you will, and you are using PhotoLab as your digital asset manager and your raw processor, all right? Now, the next two bundles that I'm going to talk about here, you're using an external processor for your raw images, and it doesn't matter what it is. It truly doesn't matter. And the reason is because you're likely going to use these as a plugin, which is going to be the first option here, or you're going to use them as a standalone, which the second option works the same way. Now, let's talk about the plugins only option here first, because I think that this is for a very specific type of individual, and I think it could be value added. So you are not using any raw editor at all, but you shoot images at high ISOs. And so you need to remove the noise, and you want to remove it very well. So you need PureRAW. You're going to put all of your images into PureRAW, run that as a batch, export those images from PureRAW into TIFF or JPEG. Now you're going to go and edit individual images through the Nik Collection, or maybe even host it from a program like Affinity or Photoshop. Those are the plugin options, and you're usually working on maybe 1 or 2 images out of a series, but you need to denoise a large group of them to figure out which photos you really want to work with. So that's why you have these two plugins, or why I'm suggesting these two plugins for that type of a workflow. All right. You're probably also organizing your images on your system's hard drive or your system's Explorer, or if you're on a Mac computer, the Finder. So just using folders in there, and you're not using a digital asset manager to actually categorize or catalog your images, which is perfectly fine, because you're probably only editing a handful of images, and you just need to be able to remove the digital noise from your images and then do something creative with them. And what I failed to mention earlier about the Nik Collection is you can move between all of the programs internal to the Nik Collection from each program. So there will be some B-roll kind of explaining or showing exactly what I'm talking about, but essentially you'll go to the top right and you'll click on switch to, and then you can move to a different application and you can edit in there. And so if your workflow really is tied to just saving your images to a hard drive and then opening them from there and making the edits, these two programs are probably all that you're going to need in order to accomplish that task. Now, I always recommend you have a raw processor and a digital asset manager, but that's just for me, and that's my workflow. And so I just want to help unpack or demystify the DxO offerings for every workflow that I've encountered so far in my training sessions. Now, the last one is the Photoshop user, and you could add PureRAW to this bundle as well, but it's up to you if you need the noise reduction software. Not everyone needs it, so that's the only reason why I left it off. However, when I think about people who are working inside of Photoshop and they want to get like the most creative look out of their images, I think of FilmPack and Nik Collection, because Nik Collection is just going to open up tons of opportunities. And the same thing with FilmPack. It's going to open up tons of opportunities. And if you're working in Photoshop, you probably already have a series of plugins. You may even have something that's going to manage your noise reduction as well. But the things that DxO offers that other companies don't really offer as frequently are the FilmPack and the Nik Collection. And so that's the only reason why I left PureRAW off of there. But you could absolutely use PureRAW, FilmPack, and Nik Collection if you're using Photoshop. So those are kind of the 6 bundles that I came up with. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about the bundles that you would suggest to someone based off of workflows down in the comment section below. All right, now the slide that everyone loves. How much does all of this cost? Well, between now and January 6, 2026, you can save some money when you bundle the programs. And that's kind of the reason why I was showing you the programs that you can bundle together. Now, there are 2 different prices listed here. Obviously, the first one is going to be for a new license or a new customer, someone who's purchasing a new license. And then there's the upgrade pricing. Now, for the upgrade pricing, you have to check to see if you're eligible. So you just log in and it'll look to see what version of that software you last purchased. And depending on how far back you are, you may not be eligible for the upgrade pricing. But all of that will work itself out when you log in. Now, I do want to make note for new customers, if you use coupon code FWP15, you will be able to save some additional money on top of the 20% off when you purchase 2 or more of the programs at a time. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't work for everyone else. Now, this is an affiliate link and an affiliate coupon code, which just means I make a commission from everyone who uses it, but that's at no extra charge to you. It's a win-win for everyone involved, and it's a great way of supporting the channel. I greatly appreciate everyone who does that. Now, before we go, there is one more thing that I'll mention that DxO is offering between now and January 6th, and that is when you purchase these programs, you will get access to the DxO Premium support. Now, this is a newer product that DxO has started offering, but essentially, if you run into technical issues or you have a question about the program, you can literally call DxO and they will help you fix your program. It's 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I don't know of any other software company that offers that level of support to their community. And you get access to this based off of the dollar amount that you spend. It's either 3, 6, or 12 months. You get access to this completely for free when you purchase between now and January 6th. And then obviously after that, you end up paying for that as an individual product. But that's something that is huge if you are a professional on a tight deadline, or if you are a hobbyist and you just are frustrated and you're trying to get something resolved. Or maybe you're brand new to the DxO community or suite of programs and you're just trying to figure it out, like ViewPoint. You can call DxO Premium Support and just ask them your question and they will solve it for you or help you figure it out. I think that that's amazing. So in the comment section below, you let me know what your thoughts are about the DxO software, the offering, the sales, all of it. If you got any suggestions that you think would be helpful for people looking to purchase DxO software, leave it in the comment section below. And until next time, I want you to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.